Hi guys, this is Lauren from Lauren Watkins Art, and today I'm taking you into my sketchbook as I do a little drawing. Now if you've been following my videos for a while, you know I've been trying to get better at drawing in my sketchbook regularly. I tend to do so many commissions and projects for other people that I don't always get to work on self-directed pieces. Now I love doing commissions, and so it's nothing against them, but sometimes it's just fun to do a piece and not worry about whether my client's gonna like it or not, or if it's gonna meet the criteria they've set. And so I just sat down. I've finished I did 3 commissions last week, and just really wanted to just play and not stress too much. And so I found this picture on Pixabay, which is a great website to just find pictures and find inspiration. You can just browse through it, favorite things you like, and go back and look at them later. So I found this picture and just sketched it up quick, and I'm inking it with a Sharpie fine point marker. I really like using my Sharpie in my sketchbook because they're pretty inexpensive, and since my sketchbook pictures don't typically get exposed to light very often, I don't have to worry about them fading or being as light as archival. Now I took out my gouache palette, and the nice thing about working in my sketchbook is you guys can see a little bit more of my color mixing as I work. Now I've kind of got my Hansa yellow, and I pulled out some gamboge, and I did a little bit of an underpainting with that, and then I have phthalo blue and sap green going in. And I like working with gouache because I can do it thin and have it look like watercolor, or I can do it a little bit thicker and have more, dimension. I don't know the word I'm looking for, but more robust looking piece. Now I'm starting to block in my door. Now, if you know anything about color mixing and color theory, you know that red and green are opposite. And so when I was working, I tried to keep a red undertone in the door to kind of play with that complementary color scheme. And I'm just making some grays with my blue and burnt sienna, and just mixing that up. My gouache is mostly M-gram gouache, but I do have a few Winsor Newton colors mixed in there. And since it's in a palette like this, the paint is actually dried, and so it doesn't get quite as thick as if you work with gouache straight out of the tube. I find that gouache that's in the palette that's dried up tends to lean a little bit more towards the watercolor spectrum, and it takes a little bit more work to get it thick and robust. Again, versus if you use it straight from the tube, it leans more towards acrylic, where you can layer it thick and you can it's really opaque. So just keep that in mind if you decide to work with gouache. Depending on what you want from it, you might choose to work with it fresh or a little bit more dried. I love this palette. I take it with me when I travel. It's kind of been my new favorite kit to take with me. Because it's so diverse, I can do it a little bit more opaque. I can layer up things, put paint over top of stuff I don't like, especially in my sketchbook, where I'm not usually planning out a piece in as much detail or doing as many practice pieces for it as I do with some of my finished works that are in the larger scale. Those ones I do so many thumbnails and practice pieces for it that I know what I'm going to do before I start. With a sketchbook, I don't always know, and sometimes things take a different direction, and it did so even on this. And I like having the gouache because it's a little bit more flexible. Now I'm just going in and glazing in more colors, starting to add some detail onto the rocks and some shadows, and just playing, having some fun with this, not stressing. And that's what art should be for you, especially like when you're working in your sketchbook. I used to be so paranoid about whether a picture would look nice or not, and I'd always rip the pictures out of my sketchbook because I didn't want to keep that reminder that I wasn't a perfect artist in my sketchbook, which is silly because if you pull out all those pictures that you don't like, you can't really gauge your progress as an artist. And so that's something I've been working on overcoming is, I may have a piece that I don't care for that much, but I'm going to just keep it in my sketchbook and just let it be and just go from there. Now I've taking some white gouache and kind of adding some like chipped paint type look on it and some detail, and just going in now with a Sharpie and doing some what I thought was final detail, kind of boldening up some lines that had kind of got covered up with the gouache. And I thought I was going to be done here, and then I went upstairs and I got a drink, and I came back down and realized I wanted to add more. And so I decided, instead of doing more gouache, I decided to pull out my colored pencils, which I don't get to use very often because I typically work in watercolor and soft pastel. And so I pulled out my colored pencils and started adding some more detail, and I really liked it because it gave a lot more texture to the rocks and the wood and the stucco in this picture than what I was getting with the gouache. And I have a lot of artists that I admire that work in mixed media that do a watercolor wash underneath and then they do colored pencil and other mediums over the top. But that's not typically how I work. So it was kind of fun to get to see what it's like to work in those kinds of layers instead of trying to do layers of watercolor or layers of pastel, trying to learn how to do layers of different media and seeing how they lay on top of each other. And so I'm just going in and adding some more texture and dimension and just kind of finishing up this picture. I am really glad that I took the time to work in my sketchbook and just kind of enjoying the process. In the next couple weeks, I should have some more videos for you that will be more full-length, full-size paintings. I actually recorded them all, but I haven't been able to edit them because my computer died. So I had to do something simple today on my phone. I hope you enjoyed watching this video, and if you did, please hit the like button. And if you want to see more of my work, please hit the subscribe button and let me know if there's something you want me to talk about or discuss or teach. And I'll be happy to make a video about that. Thank you so much, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.